In this Grasshopper tutorial, I want to show you how you can model a parametric brick wall in Grasshopper. So this parametric brick wall will be produced based on a surface. So first of all, we will start from a base surface, and we can design this in Rhino or Grasshopper. Then we will just start to define dimensions for the bricks. So you can see that I have defined a box, which I can define the X, Y, which will be the width of the bricks, and the Z, which is the height of the bricks. And then we will also add a gap if we need a gap between the rows. So we can put it to 0, and we can also define how many bricks we need. So we can just change the division and see the results you can see here. So this will be a good simple exercise in Grasshopper, so you can understand how we can orient, how can we use the counter tool and orient the bricks onto the surface so they can just sit on each other and produce a parametric brick wall. Okay, to start from scratch, I'm going to produce a surface in Rhino. So we can simply draw a line for the top of the wall, and we can also draw a simple NURBS curve. So I'm going to start from the start of the line and go to the end. So basically here, and we can just move this to the top. Okay, so this is a simple surface. You can produce more and complicated surfaces, but remember, always you have to have those sections for your surface aligned in just in the Z direction. So if I just scale this a little bit up, this surface is not good for a brick wall because the bricks will just sit out from here and will not have a brick underneath them or up. So remember that your sections should be just, if you look at them from the top, you can see that their dimensions are just the same in the X direction. So simply that we can just loft this together, and we can also rebuild this surface to maybe 30 and 30 iso curves, and here's the surface. So what I'm going to do is to import this into Grasshopper. We can just import this as the surface. Okay, and let's start to produce the brick. So the first thing I'm going to do is to produce a box here for the brick. So we can go to the surface, we can go to the primitive and use the domain box. You can also use any box you want, but this domain box will give you the freedom to define the dimensions of the brick, the base brick. So it's in the XY plane, and we can the input is just a domain. So basically, if you want to assume that this is the center of the plane and you want the brick, you can just say -2 to 2. So this will be a 4 for the X, and we can just use a shortcut. So if I just connect a number, assume that I connect a 5 to this X, what will happen is that it will go from 0 to 5. So if you connect a number to a domain, Grasshopper thinks that it starts from 0 to that number. So we can just use this shortcut. I'm going to give this number to the X, to the Y, and here we go. We need a smaller one, and also for the Z direction. Okay, so this is the first step. We can go further and make the brick here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to orient this brick on the surface, and what we need is to first of all use the intersection of planes with the surface. It means we can use the contour tool. So first of all, we will just going to cut this surface with planes with height. We can just define the height of this. This height can be definitely this number, and so the brick is going to fit on it, or we can add a number to this. So if we need a gap, we can add this up. So first of all, I'm going to make sections from this surface. We can just search for CONT and find the contour here. You can also go to the surface and go to the intersection, mathematical, and find this here. So the shape we are going to intersect with planes is this surface. The point will start from 0, 0, 0, so that's not really important. We can just set this to 0. So the starting point will be 0, 0, 0, and the direction is definitely a z direction. And the distance is between, if we don't need a gap, we can just simply give this. So you can see that we just intersect planes with this distance onto the base surface, okay? So here is the contours and we have the curves. So I'm going to connect a curve to this. Let's just flatten this so you can see that we have 22 planar curves, and you can see that we have a gap here. So perhaps our last brick is going to go up this surface a little bit. So now I'm going to have, let me show you based on the results. As you can see here, when we just put the bricks on the surface, we have another brick on the top of it which is sitting between two set of bricks. So what I'm going to do is to use these curves. Assume that this is the first one and this is the second one, and again this is the third and the fourth. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to first of all divide this curve into planes. So I'm going to divide this to the planes, and you can see it here. So this is the first set of planes, then we're going to the next curve, and what we need is in the first set of curves, I mean the blue ones, we just need the we need this. Okay, let me just show you. We need this one, and this one perhaps. So we will delete these planes and put the bricks on this, and on the red lines I'm going to use delete this, take this one, delete this, again take this one, and we're going to use dispatch for this, and again put the bricks on it. So what will happen is that we will have in the front view, we will have two bricks here sitting here, and then we will have a red brick sitting here. So this will just help us easily. This is the most simple way you can produce a brick wall in Grasshopper, by using the planes. So we can just go and use the dispatch tool, and I've talked about dispatch. You can use you can see the Grasshopper tutorial about dispatch and know more about it. So what happens is that you have dispatch patterns, so it's a true false, and what will happen is that the first curve will be true, then it will be a false, true, false, true, false. So we will have two set of curves. So let me show you with the pipe so you can see this. This will be the true and this will be the false. Okay, so we just simply didn't change the pattern because its default is true, false, and we can simply have two set of curves, the red ones and the blue ones. And now I'm going to use the curve and the horizontal frames. The horizontal frames will help you, okay, to produce frames which are suitable for bricks or things that you want to put in. Because if you use the perpendicular frames, it's mainly used for if you want to put a section here. I've explained this in another tutorial. So you can use the perpendicular frames to put sections on a curve, but if you want to sit or orient something on another thing, usually something like a brick, you can easily use a horizontal frame and then put the brick on these planes. So let's just give these horizontal frames to both of those curves and give a single count for the division, and this division will also define how many bricks. Let me just make this smaller, go into display and preview plane size and put this to maybe 2 so you can see this. Okay, and so you can see that we are just basically putting planes to put the bricks on it. and we can just change it later on, so that's not a problem. And we go to the first set of frames. So remember, we just flatten this, because if you don't flatten here, the problem is that this patch will go into each group. So this set of curve is in one group and it will just dispatch, and we will also, let me just show you, we will not have any list A and B. All of them are going to the list A. So remember, we flatten those curves so that we can just dispatch them one by one. So this will go into the red group, this one will go to the blue, again this is the red. But when they are grafted, or they are in the groups, what will happen is that it will just dispatch in each of those groups. So that's okay. But the data trees is a little bit complicated thing, but I hope that you just work with Grasshopper to figure it out. I'm going to record some videos about data trees, but you can also check out what are these icons tutorial to understand about flatten or graft. Okay, so the next part is, again, here we have groups, and you can see that each of those curves have 25 planes on it. So again, we can go and dispatch this. So I'm going to dispatch these frames and these frames. Turn everything off. So those are planes. So I'm going to use the params plane menu. This is the list A. You can see that for the green, for the okay, what was that? It was the red lines. Okay, for the red lines, we have a true, false again, and we use the list A. We'll just turn this off. And for the red ones, I'm going to turn this off, use the list B, because we had this true, false, so we need the false one. Okay. And here is it. That's the simple thing you can do. And you can change the number if you want to just have more bricks on it. And the last part is to simply put this brick onto those planes. So I'm going to go here, and what we need here is an orient tool. I talked about orient, but for now what we want to orient is this box. The source plane for the orientation is going to be the center of this brick and an XY plane. So what I need is the center of the bottom of this brick. So let's just go to the surface tool and use the deconstruct, and we will have faces. We need the bottom of this, so we just use an item tool, list item, extract one of those faces. And what we need is, let me just give a number here to the index. So this is a 0, this is the 1, 0, 1, 2, 3 perhaps. Yes. And maybe 4 is the bottom. Yeah, that's the 4. Okay, so the index is the 4. And now we can just go and use the area tool to extract the center. And we just use this to connect it to an XY plane, and this is the starting plane for the orientation. So this is the starting or the source. The target is ready, and these are all the target planes we need. We can just put another plane here and put all of them with a shift key in a plane, and here we go. We can just put this here, and they are all on the planes. Perhaps we have to just decrease the number of the bricks so we can see the gaps. Yes. And also you can change the size of the bricks here. You can simply just change this. Okay. And the height of those bricks. So that's it. You can see how easily you can just produce. Okay, let's just increase the number of the bricks and see the surface. So you can see how easily we can just produce or put some bricks on the surface. This is a simple tutorial. We can use many things. You can use the Rhino plugin, brick design. You can use the launchbox tool, the staggered quad panels, But the best one is this technique because we use the orient and those are real bricks, so the dimensions of those bricks don't change. But I will also explain some of the methods in the Grasshopper course. So check out the websites about the course, and that is how you can produce the bricks. We can just bake them and we're good to go, and here it is. You can put it in the render and you can see that this is the wall. So this is how you can easily use the frames to put the bricks on together. You can use iterative methods, maybe plugins which use put bricks on a curve, but this one is the most easiest way you can use this. This is I believe this is the best way because we are not making it complicated, we're just making it easy to understand what's going on, and I think it's a good exercise to understand how a brick wall, a parametric brick wall, can be produced in Grasshopper. Okay, thank you for watching, and subscribe to the channel and comment underneath the videos about what you need or what if you have any questions, and thank you for watching.